Hi, so we have a new version of Omarchy, version 3.4. Now what they did this time, instead of just releasing it, which was 3.3 last time, which caused a few issues, they put out a release candidate, about 4 versions of it, to get as many of the bumps out of it as they possibly could. DHH pushed it out, it's great. And we went through it, and there was a few issues, but they've all been cleared up, and now we have 3.4. So what I'll do, I'm going to do a full installation of 3.4 on a clean drive, and then we'll have a look at the new features. Now, if you look on Git, a lot of it is fixes. It's great, loads of tweaks and things like that. I mean, they pay a huge attention to what the issues people raise on their Git issues and problems, and they try and work through it. I mean, they can't solve everything because there's so many bits of hardware out there, but they're making a really good headway with it. So we'll do a full installation, just go through that, and then we'll go in and we'll just have a look at the features, and at the end of that I'll just do some installs of my software, make sure it still works, and that'll be that. So with that said, let's dive in. Okay, so we're just booting up into the installer. So I'll just burn a USB key with it on. Here we go. See how quickly, normally it's about 3 minutes something for an install. Okay, here we go. So English test machine, so we'll just do that. Now you can log into Git here if you want. I don't do that. Host name, I just leave it as it is. London, yes, and I want it to go on that one, which is the Lexar. Overwrite, yep, and then off it will go. So yeah, so they've done some updates on, I mean, talk about the fixes. I mean, they've done some stuff with the laptops. There's a couple of other little bits in there, but then I'll talk you through the features that they put on there. But yeah, no, I mean, the upgrade's pretty painless. If you're coming from beyond 3.3, if you're like from 3.1 or 3.2, when you do the upgrade on the system, you're going to see some hyperland errors because they change the syntax and stuff like that, and if you've written rules. But if you just go through it, you should be able to fix it unless you've done anything, a lot of modification. The beauty of being able to modify everything is that when they do updates and they're trying to keep a set pattern, then you may break something. But I mean, it's really easy to fix. But I've shown it in another video. You just there's a Claude Omarchy skill built in. Screen cap the issue, give it to Claude, and it'll fix it for you. I mean, it's ridiculous. So here we go. What we got? Now there is a weird error that comes up here, but it's not an error. I don't know what's going on. I did post it, but it just works, so I don't know what's going on. Someone can explain what it is. You'll see it flash up. You see amber, yellow, and a red line of text. Here we go. But I mean, it is crazy, isn't it? It's one of the fastest installing operating systems. I've sort of come across one. I did Catchy the other day, and that's quite quick now. But Catchy's pulling that stuff from online. This is a standalone installer, so this is installing. If I'd pulled the Ethernet out of the bag, this would still install. Whereas Catchy wants to. I don't know how. I didn't try that. I think Catchy downloads the latest versions. I don't know if this does. It sort of says downloading, but it's actually taken it off the drive. Here we go. Nearly there. I think I've watched this hundreds of times, this thing installed. It's the first thing I do. It's whenever they do this, it's like, give me the ISO. Does the ISO work? Because I mean, you can do a basic Arch install and then pull it over the top. All those other ways of doing it. But I like to do it with the ISO, make sure that it works, and install it. I would maybe do one with a laptop as well, and just get it to just install on that just to try it out. I've tried it already. I tried the release candidates on the laptop, but this is the final, because I got to, there was 4 release candidates, and then they released the final. So I switched back on the main machine to the stable channel, and it's just running like that. But I think my laptop's still on release candidate 4. So here we go. NVIDIA install. Yep. when I got the release candidates, I did test them on AMD, and it worked. 96 GXT and the Intel's B580 I've got as well. B570, B580. There it is. Kernel command not available. Please create compromise. But it installs. I don't know what that is. Here we go. I think this is really great. This I know people bitch over this, and someone went on modified something on Wikipedia. So it says that DHH, it's not a distro, it's an Arch. It's ridiculous. It's an Arch distribution with config files. Honestly, the world is so petty. It's brilliant. Who cares? It's a great OS, but it's a great whatever Arch might. Here we go. What are we up to? 3 minutes 51. Brilliant. So I'm going to reboot, and then we'll come back and we'll go through all the new features. Okay, so we're back on the desktop. We just rebooted, and we've got an update. So let's just do that, and then yes, password queue. And you notice straight off, so I didn't say that. Move that over there. We've got a beautiful new default background, which is a standard, which is based off the other one. The name of the guy who did this is in the Git thing. It's fantastic. Anyway, very little to do there. And that's it. More in. You always get this, don't you? With your new bindings now. Right. Okay, where do we start with this? Right. Okay, so let's just look at some really basic things now. I've got to get my key bindings right. What they built in this time, he's built in scaling of the screen. Now, I wrote a program that does this. I don't know how this works in multiple monitors. I'm not trying it. So I think it's Control Super Backspace. Okay, and it sets the scaling. And mine's 1.6, so you keep tapping it. 3, 1, and I'm back to 1.6. So you should be able to scale your screen just by doing that, which is pretty cool. They've also done a new print screen feature. So if I click print screen, now I actually can't remember how this worked before. Now you can Super Alt, comma, we'll click this, but then that brings up the panel, and then you save. Now, I'm trying to read the wording on this, and I couldn't work out how that's changed. I'm sure for me, it's sort of always done this, or maybe I just didn't pay attention. Anyway, apparently, you know, it's that's saved. It saves us doing something. All right, so what else have we got? Very basically in here, we've got this is new. Logout. Now, this would have been really handy for me because a lot of times when you change permissions on scripts, we run a script and needs permission. You need to log out, log back in for the user to have that permission. But the user used to have to reboot. So you've got logout now. So if I click logout, here we go. So I've logged out. Should give me there it is. Log back in screen. And it'll come back up, he says. And we're back. So you've got that. So that's what else we've got? I'm trying to think. Okay, before I dive into the software. So we go into install. We now have down here gaming. And we've got NVIDIA GeForce Now. Some of you may remember who've been watching this. I wrote one of these. DHH has done it better. I mean, look, he's like a full-blown programmer guy, isn't he? So his implementation is obviously the superior one. So we put that in there, just type that in, and then it will pull down all the bits you need. Flat pack, yeah, same as mine. But what's that dbus proxy? Anyway, his version works. You know, it'll be better than my version. And now I'll run GeForce Now. And if you don't, you should know what GeForce Now is. It means you can play anything on the servers in the cloud, the GeForce Gaming. Now, there's really contentious over that, isn't it? Because you're paying, it's a subscription-based service, but there's certain things you just can't play. Like Marathon's just come out, and you can't play that, I don't believe, on Linux. Arc Raiders you can, but you can't play Marathon. Battlefield 6, there's certain games that have the kernel level anti-cheat. You can't play them on Linux. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Marathon if they'll in release version you can play. I haven't got it. I should get hold of it and just test it. But, you know, with this allows you to play anything because you're not playing on your machine, are you? It bypasses all the kernel level anti-cheats. It's doing its thing. and it should launch. He says, see, it's very similar to mine. He's just on a pretty window on it, which is nice. I don't have that level of aesthetic patience sometimes. Full screen's fine for me. Here we go. What's that at the bottom there? Oh, yeah, okay. So what it's going to ask you to do now is it needs you to agree and continue. It's not quite done that correctly. Oh, let's get it on again. Let's get rid of that. So you need to get in, and it will launch your login, same as before, and you can log in and play your games. I won't go through that with you. Oh. Doesn't like that. There it is. Let me come out of that. Right. Okay, so GeForce Now, screen scaling. What else have we got? We've got some new themes. Style, theme. Now you've got matte black. No, miasma. This one, which is rather nice. BTOP's binding's gone. But you've also got this. So before you do control, super control space and then change, but now this launches. That's pretty happy one, isn't it? That's a happy theme. Okay, let's get back in there. Style, and we've also got down the bottom miasma. We've got Vanta Black. That's quite cool. And it gives you like. Let's bring up a terminal. Yeah. So you've got, actually let's just do that, do BTOPs. BTOP. There. So you can sort of see by that. Actually, let's keep that one open and go over and change it. So let's try the white one, because there's also a white one now. So style, theme, white. Okay, so it's inverse to the other one. So again, what's that one? It's like a letter. If I switch back, my BTOPs has done that. Actually, let's just do that with, just out of fairness, let's just do that miasma as well. So let's just go back into that. And then we've got style. Bit difficult to read. I wouldn't use that one for me. Oh, I pressed the wrong one. I wouldn't use that. Some people would love it though. Right, so what is it? Miasma. Okay, let's have a look at BTOPs. I like that one. I'm not sure about the background, the theme thing, but I quite like that. So there's a really cool thing that's gone into this called TMUX. It's a programming type thing. But what we'll do is I'm going to quickly jump off and I'm going to log into my Claude account, which by the way has got a shortcut. So let me just come out of this, just get rid of this. Let's just launch. So if I do that, type CX, it will launch Claude. There's a shortcut now, but I need to log into it. So I'll log into my AI and then we'll come back and we'll have a look at TMUX. Okay, so I've got my Claude set up just to demo this. Now, what's TMUX? TMUX is its own video, and there's tons of videos that you can look at to understand what TMUX does. But fundamentally, it's terminal multiplexer. So, I mean, I'll give you the most basic usage of it that you could probably find. So let's open terminal up. Say you're working with like an SSH window on a remote machine and you lose connection. Whatever you're doing on that remote machine is gone. It's over. And that's a nightmare if you're doing, I don't know, like a database migration or some long-winded thing. If you start a TMUX session on the other machine, if you lose and you start your SSH, if you lose again, it doesn't matter because TMUX is still there and it's still running because it creates its own little server and then you can run your terminals on there. So I'll just give you an example. So I'm going to type CX, which will start Claude. And then I'm just going to say, I don't know, explain this machine. And then simultaneously, I'm going to launch a new window, and you do this with a shortcut called T. So now I start TMUX. and I'm in a terminal window. Now you can start more of these, but I'm just going to really basic way of doing it. Yes, yes, yes. And it's just going to go through all my machine here. And then on the TMUX one, I'm going to go CX and start Claude again. And I'm going to say, I don't know, what are the graphics capabilities, is an AI can spell, of this machine. So look, on the left hand, on a normal terminal window, it's just giving me all this gubbins, you know, it's telling me what the machine is. So I'm going on the right, it's going to have a look at the machine again, tell me about the graphics spec, and it'll get there. Do it. Now, DHH is built in these multiple layouts. I haven't got my head quite around it yet. Like, I'll try one in a second. Right. So I've got two screens of information. If I was like working and all of a sudden I just go like this, I've just killed that terminal. It's gone forever. Now, let me do that again though. And I've killed TMUX. Well, I've killed that, but I haven't. So if I do a terminal again and I've typed T, it comes back. Because basically, it's sort of running in the background. You detach it and attach it, so you can have multiple sessions. So obviously can't get my other one back, but this one still survived me bashing and closing the front end. So I can literally run a task in the background on terminal. I can shut it, do something else. It doesn't survive logging in and logging out. That doesn't work. I mean, there's a thing called TMUX Resurrect, which can help you with things like that. But that's really the simplest use of it. It means you can do, now he's done a thing in here. Let me just come out of this. Exit. And then it's TDL. Once you're in TMUX, and it, no. Hang on, let's try TDL CX. Okay, boom. Okay, so now it's one of his developer layouts where now, and I need to do, is it Alt 2? Alt 2? Alt 1. How do you get around the windows? Yeah, I can't remember what, I can't work out what. Yeah, I can't work out what the commands are. I mean, I haven't got my head around it probably. I mean, I don't use TMUX that often, but it's there. And it's a very good implementation. So have a ball. So let's get rid of that. Then go out to here. And I need to do TMUX kill session. That should get rid of my TMUXs, he says. Hang on, let's just check. I've just started a new one. Okay, anyway, let's get rid of that. So have a good look at the TMUX thing. For developers, it's brilliant. It's well done. There were some weird keys on the original implementation of TMUX, which DHH has changed. It's not this percentage keys. It's there's a couple of keys anyway. Have a look. He's changed them, and they're actually quite intuitive. So there's a couple of other little bits here. So one of them is, I forgot to mention this when I did the scaling. There's a screen zoom, which is, hang on, I've got a cheat sheet here. Let me just bring that up, because I've got to learn these. Right. Super Control Z zooms, and then Super Alt Z unzooms it, so you can zoom in. I'm not sure how the zooming works, what portion of the screen. Let's try that again though. To terminal, Super Control Z. What's that zoom to? Yeah, okay. You have to have a play with that. And then there's the most useless piece of programming that's ever been made in the history of programming. And I know why he did this, because no one's happy in the world. And what a waste of time this is. So in remove, you've got pre-installs. Now when DHH set this up, he set it up with a really good set of software out of the box. And if you don't want it, you can just remove it. But because people whinge about bloat and all this sort of garbage, which is just a waste of productive time, because there's stuff on here which is useful, and you can now uninstall all the pre-installs. I'm not going to do it, but basically what that would do is remove all these, all your basic apps that came with it. So 1Password, things like that, Figma probably, all the things. I mean, I use most of this stuff. I mean, yeah, OBS. I have no idea why you'd want to do that. And someone actually asked, can't you do it before the installation? Let's just remember who built the operating system and who it's for. like DHH uses it for his people at 37 Signal, so this is their default install. Why on earth? So when they fire up their machines, this is the stuff that they use. So why would you have it so that you don't install it in the first place as an option? You just do this, and if you want to get rid of it, you get rid of it. So good, good job DHH for writing that in, but what a waste of your time, man. I mean, you've got, there's other cool things you could have put on here in that time that you spent removing something that's anyway. There's also stuff in here for hybrid GPUs on as-used laptops. There's also hibernation by default mode, I believe. Toggle. Oh yeah, there's hang on a minute, let me find that one. Setup. Power profiles. There's a hibernation. You can hibernate system, I think. Hibernate. So I mean, obviously not going to do it on my desktop, but they built in all these extra little bits like that. Just if you go through the Git thing, it's a good update. It's like, there's some really nice bits in there. It's interesting. They're starting to address specific pieces of hardware. Like there's a really cool thing now with the framework and the ASUS laptops where the key colors match up with theming, which is just great. So there's some really nice bits in there. I can't think of anything else that was. I've got a bit of a cheat sheet here of what we've got. New themes, automatic power profiles. That's cool. Anything else? Tons of NVIDIA and Hyperland fixes. Yeah. So that's the main things. Yeah, Claude Code is also installed by default, which it wasn't, because I'd have to, first thing I'd ever have to do, you'd have to go in and install Claude. Remove pre-installs, improve screenshot, and TMUX. Yeah, so basically that's pretty much the new stuff. And you can just download it and install it. So what I'm going to do is I'll jump off again and we'll install maybe the games installer, and I think I'll try DaVinci Resolve as well. I haven't done that for a while. We'll put DaVinci Resolve on there, and I know it works, but we'll just install DaVinci Resolve and just make sure that one of my scripts works. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've got a copy of DaVinci Resolve, the zip, in the downloads folder. I've got the Omarchy version of DaVinci Resolve install script. So I've opened up a terminal on the left. So chmod plus X, and then just drag that over. And let's see if this works. I've not tested this for a while. It's not so much Omarchy, it's the Resolve. Okay, let's do it. There we go. Some runtime dependencies have not worked. Unpacking zip. Oh no, it's doing it. It is doing it. There we go. Yeah, there's a few weird things. I can't remember what it was. I think it was something to do with the AUR, where they changed something, and to do with Resolve. But we'll know in a second. It's doing it. Patching with Patch Elf. Seems most of it's gone on there. Let's see how long that takes. If you look at the channel, I've written DaVinci Resolve installers for so many things. Installed, launching from the app menu. Okay, looks like it went on. So let's just have a look. And down here you get Blackmagic Raw. There's 2 installs that go in. It's that one. Yes, it does work. Okay, continue. We'll fix the font in a minute. This is the free version. Skipping start right now. Yeah, so the link to that's one of the videos on the channel. You can download that, and it does work. There's a new version, but skip it. Now, thankfully, this has appeared tiny over the corner, so I can just fix it. Preferences. The tiny fonts, tiny text, you need to go into Users and Display UI 150. Save. Okay. and then come back out of it. Quit DaVinci Resolve. I've actually bound my DaVinci Resolve on my work machine because I work on it on this to Super Control D. Let's just go to a new screen, and then we'll space. There she is, Old Faithful. Create a new project and resolve. Let's check the drivers have gone in properly. I've got a bit of a glare on the screen here. Preferences, it's my window by here, right here. Decode options, GPU, full debayer and compression, yes. Memory GPU, and it's got NVIDIA GeForce 5060 Ti. Now I've done an install script. It's on the channel for AMD because you can't get it to work normally. However, you won't get the accelerated part of it. You won't get the NVIDIA accelerator because the VAPI thing or whatever it is doesn't quite work. But with this, you've got everything. And even on the free version, save. Yeah, even on the free version of Resolve, you get, I mean, you've got ProRes, perfect. But you've also got MP4. You can use AV1, and AV1 is basically what you're watching this in now. AV1 is one of the most widely used streaming. Amazon use it, Netflix use it. It's the future because it's license free, so everybody wants to use it. So you can easily deliver to YouTube with that. I can see that. I've got quit DaVinci. There you go. I've got glare on the top right hand screen. Anyway, so that's that one. Let's launch this, launch that. And then we want to do the games installer. So chmod plus X. And this again is on the channel if you want it. And hopefully this will just install seamlessly, he says. Have a look through the channel upgrade system now. Yes. 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 Yeah, it's going on. Install recommended packages, yeah. So this will pull down Steam and everything you need to play games. I know they're doing better with this because they're installing Vulkan and stuff, but this just brings everything down. Proton GE as well, which is version 33. Now you need Proton GE for Arc Raiders. I'll just put that out there because it doesn't seem to work on Proton Experimental, just crashes on my system, but GE seems to work with everything. So it's going to pull that down. It's 32, 10.32. Even with my speedy internet, it's not as speedy as it should be. Here we go. So yeah, both those two scripts on the channel and other videos. I'll try when I get to this bit. I'll link, maybe put a link up above to the videos. Here we go. Going on there. The version I made for the Catchy launcher, that installs Proton, Catchy Proton as well for you. But I mean, this is all just works for me. I mean, literally, I wanted to build perfect sort of gaming system for me, and I just wanted to, I press Super Control, Super Control S, launches the games. I've done video use. Now this is a good test. Now I need to reboot for this. That's a shame. Because it does the NVIDIA mod set 1, so you need to do a reboot. But if you're on AMD, you could have just logged out and logged back in instead of doing a reboot to make sure that you've got the correct permissions. Chimera back end. Down it comes. Test and network manager. Reboot now. Now on AMD you don't need to do that. It's purely because it sets a command. NVIDIA mod set equals 1. But now it'll reboot back in. If my capture card survives this, just now it exploded. Well, it went like into crazy mode. Here we go. No signal. There we are. It's really good installation. I mean, big fan of Omarchy, as you can tell. It's sort of a bit of a game changer for me on using Linux. It just does stuff that I want it to do. It's simple, it's easy to use, you know, and I can just Steam. So we need to log into Steam, get the games thing to launch. But no, I mean, it's just really simple. It's really nice. There's quite a nice following of people who are building bits in. I will eventually contribute to it. I mean, I've got a Acer laptop, so if you watch one of the other videos, Acer laptops have got these turbo buttons. Now, by default, most Linux distributions don't do anything with them. And Omarchy is the same. So you're limited on an Acer gaming laptop to a certain amount of power. But I've got a script together that basically enables that power button. So you can get your full 60 watts or 110 watts if you keep pressing the button. But you need to obviously detect it's an Acer laptop, all these kind of things. So I'm going to try and submit that as a pull request or whatever it's called, and see if we can get that added in as well, because I'm sure there's Acer laptop owners out there who've got that button who'd want to use Omarchy, and you have to fiddle to get it to work. Well, just do it by default. There we go. So let's just log in. And is it going to do it? That one. Signing in. Doing it. It's doing it. Loading user data. And come on. Here we go. So the only thing you have to do, I've done this a billion times, you guys. The only thing you have to do is settings, downloads, turn off that, get rid of that, shut down Steam, don't need to open it again, exit. To launch it, it's Super Shift S. Here we go, sorry, run out of hard drive space there quickly. It's a bit of pain. Okay, so we're in it now. Go in there, Steam, settings, because as I watch my videos, you see my system for some reason pretends to be HDR, it's not, so we just switch that off. And then I need to just block my max resolution to 250, that one. And as you can see, because it's in video, it just throws a wobbly at 4K, so it's blocked on this capped at 256 by 4040. But there you go. And you can choose something to play. And to come out of it, it is Super Shift R, shuts it down. And we should be back to the desktop. Okay, there we go. So let's just do, hang on, style, name, Tokyo Night. Let's finish where we started. Okay, and then over to me. All right, so yeah, so 3.4. It's great. It's really nice that they released it to release candidates so people can have a play with it and find the faults and spot stuff. There's a couple more little things in there, like a notification thing, and I haven't covered, but have a look at the Git. There's tons. They did tons of tweaks. It's really good. So there's a lot of effort's gone into this. It's fantastic. And it's just getting better with each release. There's just so many clever things keep popping up. Oh, and they've also changed the key bindings for the to toggle for the speed. Is it Super Shift X? Super Shift X for the not Super Shift X. Have a look. They changed it because there was a weird problem with the way the keys released for the voice type thing, which is the AI dictation thing. So they've changed it so it's a toggle on and off. That works better as well. So there's tons of little changes and tweaks, and they've taken feedback on board. But there you go. It's 3.4. Download it. Have a go. If you're like me, once you start using this, you just can't go back because it's just simplicity in a nutshell for me. The bit about removing the bloat is just a waste of DHH's time. That whole whoever did it, that was just such a waste of time. There's no such thing as bloat, is there? Think about it. If you've got a Windows system, yeah, okay, you come with tons of crap when it's bloat. I'm talking about if you say bloat, I think of McPhee, things like that, stuff that's absolutely no use to you whatsoever, that's pre-installed by the manufacturer, like those stupid update things. Everything that was originally on here is useful. It may not be what you choose, but just remove it. I mean, you know, I'd really prefer it personally if they spent the time making the system better than worried about that it was pre-installed with OBS. I mean, how ridiculous is that? That's so sad. So he's built that in and you can remove it now. Crazy. Anyway, and on that insane note of insanity about how bad the world is, if you want bloatware, put Windows 11 on, then start bitching about it. So, yeah, on that note of insanity, thanks for watching.